Hello, I'm Dr. Jim Anderson, and I'm here to talk to you today about bad PowerPoint presentations. Or really, more specifically, about the use of color incorrectly in PowerPoint presentations. Lately, it seems I've had to sit through so many presentations in which the colors that were being used and how they were used together were so bad, it took away from the product manager's message. So let's spend a little bit of time today talking about how you can make sure that this doesn't happen to you. Does this slide look familiar to any of you? Man, I sure hope it doesn't. But I'll tell you what, all too often when I'm sitting in a presentation, I'll see slides that look very similar to this. It's not the content of the slide that's causing the problem, it's the colors. The colors just simply don't go together. Clearly, whoever put the slide together didn't know anything about colors or color science. It's time to start teaching folks about a color wheel. One of my heroes is a professor by the name of Edward Tufte, and Edward really does not like PowerPoint at all. He was called to testify before the U.S. Congress in regards to the investigation into the space shuttle disaster. One of the culprits in that catastrophe was, in his opinion, PowerPoint, primarily because it was a really poor tool for communicating complicated information. And so with due deference to Mr. Tufte, the rest of us unfortunately have to use PowerPoint as one of our primary communication tools as in our job as being product managers. So what we really need to do is we need to figure out how to use it effectively, how to use PowerPoint as an effective tool. And one of the key things there is finding out how to use color correctly inside of PowerPoint to get our point across. So let's talk about what a color wheel is. Well, in its basic form, a color wheel is exactly what it sounds like. It's a wheel with colors on it. What's important about that is what colors are on it, and most importantly, how they're organized. There's two sets of colors that you need to know about. The first one is what are called the primary colors. There are three primary colors: yellow, red, and blue. There's a second group of colors called, obviously, secondary colors. Those are the orange, purple, and green colors. What's important about a color wheel and how a product manager would use a color wheel is you can tell you what colors work with each other. In other words, what colors don't clash. Colors that work with each other are called complementary colors. For example, if I knew I had a slide and it had green on it, I could take a look at a color wheel and see that on the opposite side of the color wheel, I find the color red. I could use red with green, and anybody who's been around seen advertisements around Christmas time knows that those two colors work together very well. Another choice of using colors that you have is something called analogous colors. Basically, if you can find a color on the color wheel, the colors that are located directly next to it are fine colors to use. They will support the color that you have. And you can see that in the lower right hand of this particular picture. If we selected red, you could see that we could use some purples. Those would be analogous colors, and those would work just fine with the red color that we already had in our picture. So let's talk about how we would actually go about using a color wheel in a practical point of view. Most of us don't have an opportunity to start any particular presentation with a clean sheet. Instead, what we find is that we generally end up using PowerPoint templates that are provided to us by our company or our organization. And what that means is that there's already a set of colors that have been given to us, whether it's in the company logo or maybe the outline or what have you on that particular PowerPoint presentation. The real question is how can we make the presentation that we're going to build work with the colors that are already in the PowerPoint template? Turns out it's actually pretty easy to do, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Now that we know what a color wheel is, we're going to take a look and see how we would actually use a color wheel in a practical real-world situation. Most of us, when we're putting together a PowerPoint presentation, find ourselves having the logo of our company or organization already a part of the template that we're using. It makes sense that the colors that we'd use in our PowerPoint presentations would be complementary to the colors that are used in the logo. So I've loaded up this particular session with a logo from a well-recognized company. Let's find out what colors are being used in their logo. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go up here and select the color picker tool in Microsoft Paint. We'll move it over the color that's being used in the logo. We'll select it. Then we're going to go ahead and click the Edit Colors option. That's going to bring up a list of all the colors that are being used. You'll notice that here it shows us the color that we selected with the color picker tool. What's important is over on the right it shows us that that color is made up of 3 components. The red component is 35, the green component is 118, and the blue component is 188. Now these numbers are going to be important because now we're going to go to a website called designgeckotribe.com. What this is basically an automated color wheel. So we'll go here and we're going to type in those numbers. The numbers that we got were 36, 123, and 200. And you can see that when I do that, it shows me the complementary colors that go along with that color. Basically the colors that I can use in my PowerPoint presentation, which is great. These are the colors that are basically safe to use. Let's see how we would actually go about doing that. So I'll bring up a PowerPoint presentation. You can see that it already has the logo in it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select an object that I want to include in that particular presentation. I'm going to go ahead and select the Shape Fill option in Microsoft PowerPoint. You can see I can go down here and say More Fill Colors. If I go to the Custom option, you'll see that it gives me the opportunity to type in red, green, and blue colors. If I want to use the colors that were in the logo, I type in 36, 123, and 200. Click like that, and that would be a safe color to use in this PowerPoint presentation. I can go back and basically repeat those steps if I want to use some of the complementary colors. Another one was 199, bad typing on my part, 199, 112, and 36. And just one more example here. More fill colors, custom colors, 199, 36, and 41. So there you go. 3 colors that will be complementary to the colors that are used in the logo. That's an already part of the PowerPoint slide. You can't go wrong with these colors. If you ever do find yourself in a situation in which you can choose whatever colors you want on a PowerPoint presentation, you still have an obligation to make sure that those colors work with each other. A great way to go about picking a complete set of colors is to visit this particular website, which allows you to just click a single button and it will bring up a whole palette of colors that you can then go ahead and use in your presentation. If you don't like the colors they present to you originally, not a problem. Keep clicking the button and they'll keep presenting you with new sets of colors that work together. You might be asking yourself, where do I go from here? Hopefully you found the information in this video to be helpful. If you take a look just to the right of this video in the upper right hand corner, you'll see that there's a link there. Click on that link and you'll be taken to a page that allows you to sign up for my free monthly product management newsletter. This newsletter is just stuffed with information that's going to help you move your career forward and make your product even more successful than it is today. And hey, it's free, so you can't go wrong with that. So go ahead now, click, and make sure that your career moves forward.